everyone, so we'll be looking at directed numbers today. We'll be looking at addition and subtraction. So let's make a start on our examples. So we've got -3 plus 7, okay, and the thing that comes in handy with these questions is a number line. As you can see, I've got one at the top to help you. So I would suggest drawing one whenever you've got those questions if you struggle with them. So we know that we're going to start at -3, so we'll find that on our number line first. So there's my -3, and I know that I will be adding 7 to that. So if I'm adding and it's a +7, because there's no minus sign in front of it, that means whenever I'm adding a number, I need to be going to the right because my number is actually getting bigger. Okay, and similarly, if I'm subtracting a number, I'll be going to the left side because I'm making my number smaller. Okay, so if I've started at -3 and I'm adding 7, I've just got to make my 7 jumps on my number line. So that means that I will be landing on, so we've got -3 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that means that I'll be landing on my +4. So my answer is just going to be 4. Okay, and then for my next one, I've got -2 minus 4. So again, I'll be starting at my -2. Okay, -2 this time, and I will be subtracting 4. Okay, this time, although it is a +4, but I'm subtracting it, I need to be going to the left hand side. Okay, so again, I'm going to start at my -2 and count back 4 times. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that lands me on my -6. So that's the answer to that one. Okay, and then for my next one, I've got 3 minus 5, so +3 just -5. Okay, so that means I need to be starting on my +3 on the number line and taking away 5, and now that 5 again is a positive because there's no minus sign attached to it. Okay, like you can see in the next example, which I'll shortly be going through. So it's 3 minus 5, so starting at 3, taking off 5, which, let's see where it takes us. So we've got 3, take away 5, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that means that I'm landing now on my -2. Okay, and so we've got -1 plus -7. So you can see you've got 2 signs in the middle, and this is where it starts to get a little bit tricky, and you can get a bit lost if you're not following the rules carefully. So -1 plus -7, it just means that you're starting at your -1. Okay, so on my big number line, I'll be starting at -1. Okay, here it is, and adding a -7 to it. Okay, so if you are adding a negative number, okay, then it actually just means that you're subtracting that number. Okay, so the minus sign actually just reverses the addition that we were about to do on -1. So instead of going to the right, okay, we'll be going to the left because we've just reversed our addition. That's another way of thinking about it. Or if you want, you can just memorize the rule, which is when you've got 2 different signs right next to each other, it changes to a minus. Okay, so if we're starting at -1 and we're taking away 7, so -1 and we're taking away 7, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that means we're landing on our -8. Okay, and that's the answer to that one. And then we've got another one, so we've got 2 plus -6. Okay, so it's 2 and you're adding a negative number to it, and it's a +2, so that means we'll be starting on this number here, And if you're adding a -6, again, that means that although you're adding, you've got a -6, so that minus is going to reverse your addition, and it's actually going to become a minus sign. Okay, so it actually will be 2 minus 6. If you want, you can rewrite it to help you see the new question. Okay, so we've started at 2 and we're going to be taking off 6, so let's see where that takes us. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we've landed at -4, and that's my answer. And then lastly, we've got one where we've got -5 plus a -5. Okay, so you're at -5 and you're adding a -5. Now, if you're adding a negative number, okay, well, you're starting at a -1, so I'm gonna go and place my circle on the -5. But again, because I'm adding a negative number, I'm reversing the addition, so this will become a minus sign, okay? And I'm actually going to be moving towards the left again, so my number will be getting smaller. So I'm actually at -5, take away 5, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's landing at -10. Okay, so that means that my final answer to this question should be -10, okay, or -10. Okay, so I've just got 2 more examples that I want us to look at, okay, which are related to when you've got 2 negative signs in the middle of your question right next to each other. Okay, so this rule applies when they are right next to each other, not when you've got a minus here, for example, and a minus there. They're not right next to each other. Okay, so it's looking at a situation like this instead, or this, for example. You can have a minus there as well, but that's not right next to any of these. So if we look at 4 minus and -6, and bearing in mind what I said earlier about a negative sign reversing the other sign's job, basically. So if I've got 4 minus -6, and I know that when I am subtracting, I'm going to the left, but instead this time I will actually be going to the right, because 4 minus a -6 means that I've just reversed what a minus sign does, and now I'll actually be going towards the right. Okay, so it actually becomes a plus instead, and that's one of the rules. So with my number line, I will start on my +4, and I've got to be adding 6. Okay, so I'm going to be going to the right again because I'm adding. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so it lands us nicely on 10. That means the answer is 10. Okay, and then the second example is -6, so we're starting at a negative number. Okay, -6, and we are taking away a -4. So again, I've got 2 negative signs right next to each other. Okay, these 2 here. And again, that negative sign reverses what my negative should be doing. So instead of going to the left, I'm actually going to be going to the right and adding these 2 numbers together. So it's starting at -6 and I'm adding 4. Okay, so again, I'm going to be making my way to the positive side. So -6 plus 4 is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Takes us to -2. Okay, so that means that my answer is equal to -2. Okay, so now I'm just going to be going through some rules with you related to directed numbers, and it's good if you note these down as they are quite handy. Okay, so if I've got 2 positive numbers, or 2 positive signs, sorry, right next to each other, then the operation that I will be carrying out on the 2 numbers will be positive as well. Okay, hence I've written the the red positive sign. For example, 2 add positive 4 will take me to 6. Okay, so I'm starting at my 2 and I'm adding a positive 4, so therefore I'm making 4 jumps towards the right side of my number line, okay, which lands me on a 6. And then if I look at having 2 negatives next to each other, okay, then the answer is also a negative operation that I'll be the answer is also a positive operation that I'll be carrying out. For example, if I've got, let's do 2 minus 4. Okay, we'll use the same numbers. Got 2 negatives right next to each other, okay? And as we know that they change into a positive because this minus reverses the role of this minus over here. So it actually becomes a positive sign in the middle. So 2, it means I'm going to be starting at 2 and adding 4, okay, again. So that means it's going to land me onto 6 again, similar to the previous one. Okay, so when your signs are the same, and they're right next to each other, then you are actually adding your numbers together. And on the flip side, if you've got 2 different signs, for example a plus and a minus right next to each other, you will actually be subtracting your 2 numbers. Okay, so for example, if I've got, just make that, if I've got so we'll carry on with 2 and 4 actually. So if I've got 2 and I'm adding a negative 4 to it, okay, so I'm adding, and we know that adding actually goes towards the right side, but then I've got a minus right next to it, a negative 4, which I'm adding to the 2. So that negative sign is going to reverse what I should be doing, okay, with the addition sign. So it actually becomes 2 minus 4, okay. Look at my number line, starting at 2 minus 4 takes me to my negative 2, okay. So the answer is negative 2. Similarly, if I've got a minus and a plus right next to each other, my answer will again be a minus sign. For example, if I've got 2 and I'm taking away a positive 4, then I will be landing on negative 2 once again.